right, welcome back to another episode of the Athlete's Feet podcast. I'm Lincoln McKinnon with my co-host Tanner McLaughlin. We got our special guest this week, Braxton Jones, Murray High alum. In your time with Southern Utah, you got an all Big Sky third team, then back-to-back first team all Big Sky, along with an academic first team, and an Associated Press FCS first team All-American selection. You followed all that up with an invite to the Senior Bowl, which landed you a fifth-round selection by the Chicago Bears. This season took over 1,000 snaps while only allowing 7 sacks, which is just insane. All that to earn you a spot on the PFWA All-Rookie team, Mr. Braxton Jones.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, that list is insane.
Man, that was a long list there. I didn't even.
Well, you've been killing it.
I'm glad you said that. Out here. That made me feel a little bit better about all those. But yeah, man.
Just to start us off, so let's just look back quickly at your last year. This time last year, you were at the Combine. What would you say to yourself if you were in your shoes, getting ready for the Combine after the year that you've had? Like, what lessons have you learned, just from being a pro this year?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, it's been a crazy year, but just for the guys even doing it right now, I think Senior Bowl is kind of about to get started this week, and it's been going on this week. So and the Combine is coming up, so yeah, they're doing all that prep. But I mean, I just stay the course was my biggest thing, just being consistent as possible. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people about this. Everybody thinks it's like a really like some crazy mathematical formula or something that you got to do, but really for me, like I feel like I just stuck true to like what I know. And when I went into some of those meetings at the Senior Bowl, or the meetings at the Combine, or just some of those pressure situations, I just stuck to being myself, and all the way through. And kind of my first year just came in, tried to to do the best I could and play hard. I think that's the biggest thing is, just come in, play hard, do your job, show the coaches that, you care. And I mean, that would be my advice to guys that are doing it now and years to come. So.
Yeah, and you went to the Senior Bowl this time last year, and I remember us talking at that point, talking about how the stress that went into it and the amount of football knowledge that you were learning. Obviously, you have to learn a new playbook. You're around these NFL coaches. What was that experience like?
Yeah, man. I mean, it is. I went into it and I knew that it was going to be super stressful. I mean, it is just there's a lot going on, man. I think you start meetings at like maybe 7 p.m. or something like that, and you're doing I think they're like 15 or like 10-minute interviews. I think something like that, and you're doing like you're getting half of the NFL. You're getting 16 teams in a night, so you're just talking to a whole bunch of teams, and it can be stressful. But I think what I did is just I realized that it was going to be like a stressful environment, and I just kind of went head first and expected those things. And when I went into those meetings just with a good attitude and positive attitude, even though it's 10:30 and anybody would gladly be in bed, right? But it's just like you never get this opportunity ever again. I'm just incredibly glad that I just took the opportunity to just not complain or be mad about what was happening or anything like that. And it was a great time too. But I think for most people, it's a lot more stressful than anything, because there's just a lot of people that are just not necessarily looking for you to mess up, but they're gonna see you mess up if you do mess up. But you're just like everybody around you's, you're being graded every day. It's a test. Everything's a test. So, when you want to,
go ahead. No,
yeah,
we talk. Oh, sorry. When you were there too, I mean, this was your first chance to really go up against these opponents that we didn't get the opportunity to go up against that Southern Utah. We played at ASU. We had some bigger games, but we really didn't have that level of play. What was that like, lining up against these guys for the first time?
Yeah, bro. I mean, that is just like, for me it was like, even though I talked to a couple guys, my agent, and I think a couple people when I was coming into the Senior Bowl as well, just were like, just basically just, go in there and just go. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously these guys are, been playing at a higher level, doing a lot of things like that, but it's just like, for me, at the end of the day, if you want to be on that level, you're going to have to step up to that level. And I think, you know, I think people are just more consistent at those levels. Obviously, they're better, stronger, faster, and they have more, chances to, you know, develop and really, build their bodies and stuff like that. But I really don't think it's, much different than, that FCS level. There's just not that all that talent. There's, our roster probably has maybe 5 or 10 guys that really have like that elite talent. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's just, you know, we're all talented. I think it's just the experience with the talent, and even in my first year, that was kind of what it was. I mean, um, just getting more experience under your belt, playing those type of caliber guys, and always playing the best. So it was more just getting used to that. And as the season goes, I felt like even in the Senior Bowl, like as the days go on, you get more used to who you're going up against, and the challenges it brings when guys are just consistently better. And that's what I would say it is you know guys are just better longer is what I kind of describe it as.
Right. Um, and like you said, a lot of people always talk about the negatives when they talk about the FCS teams compared to the FBS. What advantages do you think that you gained playing at Southern Utah opposed to somebody at a bigger school?
Yeah, I mean, at a bigger school, a lot of times you just become a number.
Yeah.
You become another guy on the roster. You kind of get, you know, you're down in deep in the roster and nobody can see you. So at that FCS level, I mean, it is, if you do play at a high level and you show that you can, do those things against when you do get those chances, like the teams like ASU and stuff like that, that you can play with those guys. That's always good. But when you're able to dominate the FCS level, they're going to see that, and they're gonna, at least they're gonna give you a chance. So, there is the pros and cons of playing in FCS, but really, I think it is just I took the chance with it, and you know didn't wasn't lost in the shuffle at SU. So
Right.
and that's the biggest thing is a lot of guys go and transfer, and they just get lost in the shuffle, and that's the risk you take being going in the FBS and stuff like that. But some people take those risks, and it pans out, but some people don't. So I think that's kind of like the pros and cons, and obviously there's a lot more, but I mean, FCS has their pros and cons, and so does FBS. So
And I think you're exactly right too. The FCS, you can go there and you can be valued, and like you said, you can just be just a number at these FBS programs, and I think it's pretty cool. I believe you had a walk on to Utah. If correct me if I'm
yeah,
wrong,
hmm
coming out of high school, and you chose Southern Utah over Utah. I mean, and then you get to Southern Utah and you develop into this player. And I tweeted about it, or I tweeted or posted on Instagram, whatever it was, the other day, how I really believe you're the best Thunderbird to come out of Southern Utah, because there's no one that's had, even in your 1 year, there's no one that's had even close to an impact in the
right.
NFL that you've had. How does that feel to be the face of the Southern Utah football program?
I mean, I think it's amazing, man. I mean, I'm just anywhere I would have been, it just I would have gave everything to that program. That's just the type of person I am. But Southern Utah is definitely unique. I mean, nobody really knows where it is. Not a lot of people come through there. Like you know that, Tanner, and so it's not easy to get out of Southern Utah. It's not,
Right.
and that's just kind of how it is. So getting an opportunity to play all my years at Southern Utah and excel the way I did, have the great coaches I did. Shout out to like guys like Demario. I mean, just great dudes that helped me along the process. Coach Fernandez, those type of guys that just
Great
helped me
coach.
build myself, and into the man I am, and really helped me in the further process too, in terms of just getting into the NFL and having a good head on my shoulders when I do get in those situations. So SEU has done nothing but great things for me, and being a guy that gets out of there a fifth round pick it's just amazing. I mean, to do the things I've done, I think it's great, but much more to come, and I'm just excited for the future.
For
Oh
sure.
yeah, for sure. More to come. We already know that. I mean, I think about our time at Southern Utah. Man, there's nothing to do but football. I mean, you like there's nothing. We got a town of 30,000 people. In the summer, there's probably less. There's just nobody out there, and that's all we do is football. We'd go hit extra arms. I mean, we go to
Oh
retro
yeah,
fitness and work out. I mean, go get food with each other. But that is it. We do football, and
oh
that
yeah.
is it. And that was one blessing, being there. There's no
I
distractions.
tell people all the time. They ask me, like, what's out there. There's nothing out there.
Yeah.
What do you want to party? You want to go to the one bar? Half of us are at the
Yeah,
time weren't even
yeah,
21. So it's like,
yeah.
there's nothing to do but do extra football. You know, do extra arms. We're always doing extra arms, doing something extra just to do. And we just did it just cuz we were just bored. So like your extra activity was to do something football related. And I think that was really good for me because it just helped me lock in on football. I didn't go to a party. We didn't go to party school where you got a lot of distractions, and that made it nice, honestly, just to really focus on football for 4 or 5 years, and I think it helped me, obviously, in the long run. So yeah,
And I think for me, having that experience at Southern Utah prepped me for Arizona.
oh yeah,
Obviously, Arizona is a big party school, but I really don't have that desire to go out and do those things. I go do my work, I stay at the facilities, and I come home. The one thing I will say, that I wish you would have had access to coming to one of these bigger schools is, all the facilities, the nutrition. I mean, it's different. It's
yeah,
night and day. You remember, I mean, waking up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., going to get the eggs from the cafeteria.
yeah,
Like,
man.
they just weren't good.
Yeah.
It
I
wasn't
mean,
good.
yeah, it's just tough. I've coming from an
Uh,
FCS school. I mean, I've told people, stories about it, and no knock on Southern Utah. I mean, it's just where it's located.
Right,
You're not gonna get all the crazy funding, um, like these big schools have, and I mean, you just can go anywhere, south, north, and there's Utah, there's Dixie State that are getting more, opportunities
right.
than us and stuff like that. So it's really like kind of making the most out of it. But I mean, even coming from the SU to obviously with the Bears, I mean, I walked in that building and man, I was mesmerized.
Yeah,
I
I just
bet.
the calf's always open. Like you can go in there, grab a steak whenever you want. You go to the nutritionist, and I mean, there's beef jerky lined up. You got everything. Like what do you want? You can have it pretty much. So I mean, it's just that stuff definitely matters. But on the other side of that though too, like making the most of what you have. That's kind of a big thing in my senior year, and why I think I took a step that way, and just kind of um, being mentally prepared, I guess. So, but like I just prepared myself differently. Like my summer was different because I knew that it's going to be hard to try and change my body the summer before my senior year, and trying to get those nutritions, because you just don't get that. And so you got to go out of your way a little bit to get find ways to get good meals into you. You know, just doing extra things like that. So you can't say, SU and use it as a crutch. Oh, that's why I didn't, do make it out or anything
right.
like that. You can't use it as a crutch. You really just gotta. I mean, that creates a person right there, being able to go through a little bit of adversity and find ways when you necessarily don't have, the funds you want to, go get the food you need and stuff like that. But you just got to find ways and kind of grind through that. And that's just kind of the other side of, you know, obviously having all those things with like your facility, obviously the Bears facility, just being top notch facilities and stuff like that. So, but I mean, it's just
Well,
amazing.
I think too. I think too. You know, that's a testament of you
Who
know
you
the
are.
NFL. That you always hear they're going to find you if you're good enough. They'll find you, and you're just a testament to that. And also, I think you know it's created who you are, the character that you've become, because you know you had this opportunity to go to Southern Utah over Utah, and you really embraced the fact. You
Oh
embraced
yeah,
the program. You embraced you know everything that goes into Southern Utah, and you know I hope to see them embrace you more in the future because you really do deserve it.
for
So
sure. I appreciate that. No, for sure.
You guys are talking about all the good stuff, obviously, like the facilities, the nutrition, everything about that, about now being with the Bears and Arizona, respectfully. Um, but along with that becomes higher expectations, right? So playing on a 1-10 Southern Utah team versus now going in the NFL playing with the Bears. How do you deal with the heightened expectations going in every night? People are hitting you on Twitter. People are talking about your game. How do you deal with that kind of stuff?
Yeah, like yeah, for sure. Like the negatives. There's obviously a lot more negatives. Obviously, a lot more publicity in terms of like what people are saying about you or whatever. And that was definitely something I had never dealt with. Like I had never had somebody tweeting at me or anything like that. Like that's unheard of. I've never had anybody do that. Obviously, until you play in the NFL, people do that all the time, and they might do it at Arizona as well. And that's just because it's a big Pac-12 school, and a lot of kids are there. But dealing with that, I mean, you just can't really. You got to block out the noise at that point. I mean, we're grown men. It is hard. Like you have a bad game, and you might see something for sure. But at the end of the day, some of those people just simply don't understand kind of what we go through. And yeah, like
100%.
like a perfect example is just the other night. Super unfortunate, but aside the
oh
defensive end,
yeah,
the end for the Bengals, like young player in the NFL, but it's
Right.
just like man, like he knows that he messed up. It's just like it just sucks. You make mistakes sometimes, and obviously that had to be one of the biggest mistakes, but um it's tough because what he goes through as a person too, and it's hard to see people just hate on him for that. And I just respect the way he kind of dealt with it, even in the media and stuff like that, and how his teammates were helping him out and stuff. It's just
Right.
you don't know mentally what you go through, and that's even for me. Like I dealt with that a little bit too, and just um trying to I think you got to really be like mentally strong too, because like a lot of that stuff can break you down. But just you know you can't look too much into it for real. But um certain guys take it different ways, and it really affects them. um I'm the type of guy, if I see something, it just makes me want to be better. I mean, if they're saying something about me, I gave up this sack, or Justin um got hit on this player. I'm just, a whole bunch of that. It's just like, what can I do? The only thing I can do is keep on getting better. They don't know the work I do. They don't
Yeah.
like. They just are kind of, always not necessarily hating, but like that's kind of what it is at the end of the day. And so I just kind of try and block that noise out and get back to work. Um, keep on going. That's the only thing to do at the end of the day. And just if you continue to work, it's gonna pay off on the other end, and people won't really have anything to say. So
And
and
like you
how?
said,
Oh, go ahead,
sorry,
go ahead.
sorry, Tanner. Like you said, they don't know football like you do. Like it's just a plain old fact. I mean, to the people watching it on TV are watching it on TV for a reason. But yeah, so I totally get what you're saying. It's hard, but it's a different life out there on the field than it is sitting on your couch watching the game. So Tanner, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, the mental side of it this year. How have you, I guess, fortified that? You know, like you mentioned, there is people coming at you on Twitter. There is things. What has really changed from Southern Utah to now being a pro? Like whether it be through your daily activities, like what do you do to consistently strengthen your mind and really develop your mindset and really be fortified? I guess.
yeah, I mean that's an ongoing process. I think I personally felt like I didn't do the best with that when I did face adversity this year, and that was actually one of my key points in terms of just having a mental routine. I guess so. If that's meditating, if that's reading or whatever. So I'm actually getting more into that, and I didn't necessarily have a very good routine. So when I did have some of those rough games, I did take it a little differently, but I was able to really that next week after like maybe a bad game, maybe like Washington. That was one of my not so good games, and I just think that next week I think I just took a step back and just really, I mean, there really wasn't anything I could really do at that exact moment, but I just took a step back and just kind of go back to the fundamentals is really kind of what I did this year. And right now I'm going to start working on like an off season for like a mental program for myself. And just in terms of just like meditating and being able to like breathe, calm your mind down. Cause it can be a stressful situation. I mean, um, you go out there and have a couple bad plays, and you can very easily let a whole game get away from you. Because that's just, I mean, that's the nature of the game, and that's like one of the biggest things. But, in terms of from Southern Utah, necessarily, um, you just, I feel like I necessarily never was like it. It was a big moment, I guess, but the NFL is just different. I don't know. I felt like it's just a like there's just more than I guess. I feel like just so much more on the line. I don't know. It was just different for me. And
More
yeah,
eyes
more
on you.
eyes on
There,
you.
there is more eyes on you.
Obviously, like you getting paid to win this game. Like
Yeah.
it's just different. I mean, when you're going out there to perform and you're getting paid a significant amount of money, it's different. Like I think um, like it makes you, when you play a bad game, you're like, dang, I shouldn't get paid. Like I'm out there to perform, and that's kind of how I think of it. It's just like because I want to be the best I can. I'm not, I'm out there to, you know, do the most I can and anything I can to help the team win. So I'm not really like I'm trying to be the best version of myself. So it was hard for me because if you do have a bad game, you just you're getting paid a lot of money to do what you do. So I took that a little different and personally when I did have a bad game or something like that. So but obviously you can't. There's obviously that rule too, like 24-hour rule. You can't, you just can't dread on it for that long.
You have to let it
You
go.
gotta,
Yeah. Yeah.
after the game, you soak it in, you watch it, you look at it, and then you gotta let it go so quick, because
Right.
you go week one from Nick Bosa, and the next game you gotta turn your head to somebody else. Like it's just, it's so.
Yeah. That's
I
insane.
feel like in college
That's
it's the same thing. Obviously, you're playing week to week, but like just different for me. Like it was just different. Like you go from you know you can just go week to week, and it's pretty much kind of the same thing. Like it's not some crazy elite pass rusher, but I just felt like there was so much more on the line for me. And it's not like I didn't take, you know, Southern Utah games seriously. It just felt so much different when, there's a paycheck. I mean, people's like people are providing for their families. Like you're playing with grown men, not college kids that just, are just we're just kind of having a good time and stuff like that. So it's just there's a lot that goes into it mentally that's different. But I know I got a little off track there. But my point is just with that whole mental aspect, you really do got to find something. And I don't think I've necessarily found that yet. And that's kind of why I talked with my coach, and I was just like, I got to find some of those things that just when you do maybe have a bad play, you can easily have a plan when that happens, I guess. So and you got to move on. Sometimes let's play right after, and you got to move on, have a quick mindset. But I think some of those, meditating exercises and stuff will really help me. So
oh, that's awesome. Let's backtrack a little bit and let's talk about draft day. Obviously, you killed it at the Senior Bowl and the combine as well. What was draft day like when you
That
finally
boy was
got
moving at the combine.
for real? But when you finally got your name called, what was the feeling
Oh
like?
man, I kind of it gotten later in the fifth round, and I just decided to like set my phone down. I wasn't necessarily
Mhm.
like I wasn't crazy nervous or anything. I was just I just excited to go anywhere. Honestly, I was excited to get picked anywhere. Seventh round, last pick. It doesn't matter to me. Like I really wanted to be drafted. Obviously, it's an incredible goal of mine that was met. So it was a great time though. I mean, the phone it came through and is Illinois' number. The Bears were 3 picks away because they call you a little bit before, like maybe 5 to 10 minutes before the pick actually goes through. And I picked up the phone and my stepdad just starts yelling right over here. I'm like, be quiet. I got to hear him. Like, you can't start yelling. So he was super excited. Everybody obviously was excited. And, you kind of go through GM, head coach, position coach, and stuff like that. So it was a great night, great experience. And then after that, I was able to enjoy my family. We just had a little get together over here at a local park. So it was just a great time, man. I mean, unbelievable experience. Just super blessed to be in that position, and it was just awesome, man.
And did beforehand, did you have any idea? Like, obviously, you talked to Chicago before. Did they show lots of interest in you? Did you think that you might end up there? How did
So
that go?
yeah, the big thing with Chicago was the draft starts on Thursday, right? Goes Friday to Saturday. Day three's Saturday, right? So I think I had a text like Friday or Saturday that I they wanted the Bears Austin King, our assistant O line coach, wanted to work me out at my high school. Um, I think it was on Monday of draft week. So obviously, they saw something in me and in that workout and stuff like that. So I was just, I mean, that obviously is you know, a little light at the end of the tunnel when that happened. So I was excited about that too. But it was also so close to the draft. It was like, that's kind of a little bit worrisome that you're doing workouts right before the draft, and that was kind of would be anybody's worry. You never know what can necessarily happen in those workouts. But I just went into the workout with just do what I had to do and stuff like that. But that was definitely probably one of the biggest reasons. Obviously, them drafting me and stuff like that. So I'm just super thankful I was able to do that workout, and they believed in me and stuff like that. So yeah.
Right. And when you were drafted, you see a ton of things that you were drafted as more of a raw athletic tackle. At what point from the time you got drafted, from the time you got named a starter, like what did you have to do to get to the starting position? And where did you kind of see your role with the team for the first couple
Yeah, no, for
months?
sure. So, when I first got out there, obviously, for like rookie mini camp, obviously the vets aren't around. So rookie mini camp obviously is cool. It's just the rookies, so you don't know anything. Obviously, once you get into like OTAs and stuff, you start running, ones, twos, and threes, and I think yeah, right off the back, I'm almost positive I was running with the uh, twos, and I think I was taking reps with the ones as well every so often. And so, I just really I just was working hard, just trying to do my best. Honestly, I there was never like a crazy conversation about like who was going to start at left tackle until obviously closer to the season, right? But and then I was taking a lot of the ones reps, and I believe Riley Reef had came in and he took some of the. We would split some of the ones reps, but then I'd take all like the twos reps majority, and he was taking the ones at left tackle. But um, during camp, I took the majority of all the reps at left tackle every day. So I just I just kept on grinding hard, and I obviously they liked what they saw. So um, my coach always was like, just you're gonna have a chance to start from day one. So um, I guess I just took that opportunity and ran with it. And I'm just super grateful that they gave me the opportunity and let me like kind of grow as
It
grow
lets
as
you
a
grow.
rookie. And
Yeah.
there's ups
Yeah.
and downs, plenty of ups and downs, and um, you know, not so good games, but you just stay the course, and they let me kind of fill those out, and I'm super grateful for that because I felt like it, really put a lot more experience under my belt and stuff like that, and just really seeing how the game is. So it was just awesome. Them giving me a chance to just kind of really explore that left tackle role was amazing.
And I know when you're getting prepared, you don't really have time to be starstruck or anything like that in the NFL. But you talked about Bosa right off the bat. What pass rusher that you went up against really just kind of caught your eye, and you're like, "Holy shit, I'm playing against this guy right now." Like I watched
Yeah,
this
I
guy
mean,
on
there's
TV.
multiple guys that caught my eye, but a guy that just like, I always say this guy and his Montez Sweat from Washington, and that was one of my tougher games. He really like that was one of the games where it was like welcome to the NFL type of game, like where I just
Right.
really
Okay.
couldn't do anything, and I was just struggling in my head a little bit too. But like all those guys, Nick Bosa, he got a sack on me. Like he's an incredible player. I mean, um, but a lot of those guys, I was just like, man, this is the real deal. I've been watching this guy go up against my favorite tackles for years now. Like, I mean, definitely Montez Sweat, just because he was like my welcome to the NFL type of game, and it was on Thursday night football, and my head was completely scrambled. Didn't know what was going on. I felt like I couldn't do anything, but it was just one of those games. You know, um, but yeah, he was definitely eye opening. His arms are so long, like he would just hit me with the long arm, and my arms were long, but like I felt like I just I
Your arms
couldn't
are
reach
long
him.
as
Like I
shit.
just felt like I was
Yeah.
Really?
all just already in the quarterback's lap like every 2 seconds. So that was a guy where I was just like, dang
Yeah.
man, like he's definitely stuck in my head because he gave me the most troubles. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was crazy though.
Yeah. That's the NFL for you. On the flip side, how is playing with someone like not only Justin Fields, but in the backfield Montgomery as well?
Herbert. Yeah.
The- uh, Justin's young, still figuring it out as well. But just overall, with those guys in the backfield, how has that helped your game this year, and how do you hope to grow with the rest of your O line unit and
Yeah, no,
Justin
for
Fields
sure.
as
I
well?
mean, unbelievably young team. We're all young. Justin's my same age. Obviously, you got it a year earlier, but still, we're just young. I love playing with those guys. I mean, Justin, obviously, he's unbelievable. Um, you know, he just, I feel like he got me. You said 7 sacks earlier. That could have easily been 10. I mean, in some situations, if I'm being honest with myself, but he got me out of them because he just, he has that awareness, and I was super grateful. It's just a good time. I mean, there's some times where I'd just be, I'd be blocking my guy, and I'm like, where is the ball? Where's the ball? And then I look to the right, and he's already gone, and I just start chasing him. It's just a great time, and there's great guys on the O line. I mean, I really praise that group. We had a great time every day. The running backs, Montgomery, great dudes. Um, Herbert, just talented running backs. All around a really good group. I love those guys. Shout out to my O line for sure. They're just good dudes, good people to hang around. But it was fun watching those guys just do their thing and being a part of it. Honestly, as a young guy, and obviously it's my first time really being in a situation like that. Like I feel like some guys are. Most guys being in the FBS, you're around all those top guys. So for me, it's like a shell shock moment almost, really being around all those top guys and you know sharing a locker room with those guys. So like I said, just a great group of guys. It was fun playing with them for sure.
And what's the difference when you get to the NFL? The team, the team camaraderie as opposed to FCS as college, really. How is that team? I guess that teammanship. How is it different from being a pro as opposed to
I mean,
being in
I
college?
think at the end of the day, it is. I mean, it's football. I mean, you're gonna have those great relationships, great teammates, and it was a great locker room. I mean, the difference is really, I feel like, everybody's grown. People have kids. People have wives. I mean, a lot of guys do now in college too. But I mean, it's just not as common when you're in college. So people
Right.
take it a lot more serious. Um, and that's always how I've been, but that's kind of the difference why people make it and why some people don't. And those guys are providing for their families. So I that was one of the biggest things I took away just this entire season is just that difference. Because if you even think about it, like I like I'm playing next to somebody that's 30 and I'm 23. Like just think about that and like that type of
Yeah.
relationship and um it's just a little bit different in that way in terms of age. You're not all young adults where you kind of just hanging out doing whatever. When you when you're done in the building, all the older guys are gone. They got to go to their families, man. So obviously you're kind of hanging out with the younger dudes a little bit, but I mean it was a great locker room. But I'd just say that's a little bit of the difference is people have families more often than not, and um, that makes it different in terms of like relating on the same level of things. But those guys are great, even the older guys, just being there for you, being a great teammate because they've been there, done that. So having those guys is amazing. But just the locker room, good time. It's just like any other locker room. You're joking around, having a good time, doing your thing. So I would say in that aspect, it's no different. But once you do start thinking about guys are providing for families, so it does become a little bit different that way.
Going back to your time training for the combine, hopefully Tanner will have the opportunity to do the same this after this
Sure.
season. Uh, what kind of training were you guys doing? Were you doing specific for the combine, which is obvious a lot different than training strictly for football, or were you doing a lot more technical work with O
So
line, D line type thing?
in the beginning, you're obvious. The Senior Bowl was up for me, and it's different for all type of guys. Some guys, didn't go to the Senior Bowl, and they didn't have to because they're such a big prospect. So I was a Senior Bowl guy, combine guy, obviously, and so even in the first couple weeks, I feel like I still did a lot of what we were having to do, like a lot of combine stuff, a lot. But we do have like position coach that come in 2 or 3 times a week, and we do like film work and stuff like that, position work. So it's a good I'd say like 60-40. I would say 60 being um, working for the combine, and then 40 like doing football stuff. Because at the end of the day, you do like
Right.
I know how to take a pass set, but I didn't know how to set up for and do my correct 40. Like I could mimic it, but like I don't know the tricks and
Right.
and how to really do it. So you did spend a little bit more time on that stuff, but other than that, I'd say it's a fairly good balance.
Uh, just talking strictly about your 40 time. Obviously,
Yeah.
you're a mobile big man.
Big
Um,
man. Woo.
and you see it in the run blocking as well. Have you always been this way, like, or did you develop it
Um,
further on
you
in
know,
college? Because for someone
yeah,
your size,
no,
you
for
can
sure.
move.
I mean, I've always, I have a basketball background, so I would like to call myself fairly agile and stuff like that. So I've always loved to be in space. I thought that was my biggest attribute is quick screens, being able to get out there fast, and as good as anyone really. So I
Yeah.
when coaches would ask me, I mean, I'd be like, I can anything you want to do in space, I can do it. So um, that's what I would always tell them. And then obviously the 40, that was I didn't even think I had that in me, so that was cool. Obviously the training really paid off. Shout out to my guys at Exos because they definitely got me right. Because It's a process where you're not running a whole lot of full 40s. Like you're really working on the parts. So you break it down. Your start obviously is the hugest part, and then that back half from 20 to 40, you break that down, and then you sometimes break from 1 to 10. So you break the parts up. You're not running a whole lot of like full 40s. So when you go into run it, some guys may get a number that they didn't even think they were really going to get. But I think my highest, like in training and stuff, was like a 503 or something like that. So I was kind of close like that. Obviously, point oh 0.06 tenths off, but it didn't matter, man. I think I just went out there and ran as fast as I could, and I came back with a 497, and I was incredibly stoked. I mean, yeah,
It was
it was
freaking
cool for
awesome.
sure.
No, yeah, I honestly, even just watching the highlights of that, like, so watching someone
Oh,
your size move like that is insane.
I saw it through our summer training, through our summer workouts, bro. This dude would be moving, and this is a large human, like running full speed. There was one time, I don't think you were in a dead sprint, but there was one time it was a punt, and I think you were in
Yeah.
the shield, and you come running down the field and just
Oh
killed
yeah,
this
I
dude.
yeah I
Just
had
killed this dude,
I
bro.
think I
Like,
had 3 tackles on over the years at SU. I had 3 tackles on punt for sure. Well, that I think that one was
on
against
punt,
Montana
yeah.
because he was about to score, and I think I caught him off
Yes,
guard
yep,
and I
yep. You're the
totally
last
trampled
one.
him. Well,
Yeah.
that'd be crazy to pull up
Yeah.
that clip. We need
Yeah.
to get that clip, I think, because that I think somebody was talking about. We were talking about some special teams thing when I think I was in rookie camp, and I wanted to like say that I've gotten a tackle on special teams or something like that. But yeah, that was incredible. I thought it would be so cool to be the guy that saves like a touchdown on like as a shield guy on
Yeah.
punt. But yeah, I love that because I knew I was you know a lot faster than most O linemen, and I knew he wouldn't expect that, and he didn't. I literally just like he just ran into a brick
Oh,
wall
you
and
hit him.
he
You hit
didn't know
him
what
good.
happened. He was about to score too. He
Yeah.
was for sure scoring. If I didn't get him, he was gonna score. So
Yeah.
that was actually really cool. That's funny that you remembered that for sure.
Oh, I missed my assignment on that, so I have a
Yeah.
crystal clear image of it in my head because I was running
Oh,
back and you just
yeah.
kicked
Yeah.
these
That
guys'
was that was
ass.
funny.
Yeah, just looking back at your time at SUU, obviously you spent some years there. What was probably your best memory, or at least one that stands out
Oh,
to
I
you?
mean, I definitely obviously in 2017 we won the Big Sky Championship, so that was a great memory, obviously. And I think the biggest takeaway I got from that is just kind of like um, the older guys, just how they acted, and the reason why I felt like we were so successful that season. Obviously, I didn't play. I wasn't like a huge factor on the team. I had was a backup. You know, not necessarily. I was like a 6 man pretty much. So I mean, I didn't have a lot of playing time, but I think that helped me like learn like how to be um, in my next years and how I wanted to be, and so that definitely helped me. And that was a big moment. Obviously, there's a lot of good moments, and I'd have to think back, but definitely. Winning a Big Sky championship straight off your first year in college was definitely one of the better experiences for sure.
All right, we talked about the football side of SUU to Chicago, but obviously just the cities as a whole. What's the biggest difference in the lifestyle living in Cedar for a couple of years and then
Oh
moving to
man,
Chicago?
it's I think I did a little too much complaining that I couldn't get to the facility within 2 minutes. But I mean, and
Yeah.
I'm
Right
still
across the
fairly
bridge.
close too. I mean, but I Cedar you could get anywhere in less than 10 minutes. I type in downtown Chicago from where I stay up in, North Chicago, Lake Forest area, and it says an hour and 10 minutes. And I'm like, yo, what is that about, man? I'm not trying to take an hour and 10-minute drive. So, I mean, it's a lot different. You know, you, obviously a lot more traffic, but I mean, it has its pros and cons. It's a fun city. Great fans, they're always supporting you. I thought it was cool. I've never had, experience where I'm stepping out of, like, I'm just out, maybe with a friend on a date or something, and I have people asking me for a picture. I've never had that experience because, you go to Southern Utah, it's a small school. Like, I mean, people know you, but that's because they're their friends and they personally know you, not because they're a fan of you. So I think that's super awesome, and being able to take pictures with people like that, and it's just, I think it's like incredibly cool. I always, go out of my way to, take pictures with people like that because I just, give back to the fans. So it's definitely different. Obviously, there's a lot more people, a lot more diversity. Southern Utah is a small town, and it's, in Chicago there's so many people, there's so many, different types of people, and so it's cool. I like being out there. It's, it's a good place to be, and stuff like that, but it's definitely bigger. But then my number one thing has got to be the traffic. I just can't do it, man. I don't know how some of the guys on our team live in the city. Obviously, they're not driving in the traffic in terms of, when they come up to the facility in the morning. But I mean, I can't do the drive. I like my 3-minute drive to the weight room. I mean, you could leave, with always leave with 10 minutes and be fine, and you're early still.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's just a little bit different that way. But
yeah.
other than that, I mean, they both have their pros and cons. I definitely say Chicago's better. Yeah.
Take us. You talk about getting to the facilities early in the morning, 6 o'clock, whatever. Take us through like a regular in-season day for you. Like I'm sure you probably live at the facilities in season. Like what's it like? I know you got tons of meetings. Kind of
Yeah,
give
no,
us
for sure.
a
So I'll
idea of
take you
what it's
through
like.
like a Wednesday. So, how the weeks kind of work is, at least for Chicago, Monday you come in, review the film, go over the film, you get your lift in before you go over the film. You got like a team meeting and stuff like that. And then Tuesday you have like your off day. So, and then like Wednesday is like, your hard work day. Uh, Early in the season, full pads, like, you're installing everything. And so kind of in the morning, how it'd work. I usually start off Wednesday, probably doing treatment in the morning, um, and then we'd have like a little run review thing with the O line that we do, that's, it's a lot of things because they just broke down the whole team, and so you got to install a lot of things, and then you just have a lot of meetings throughout the day, and then have practice like 1 o'clock or so, and then after that meet a little bit more, um, and then after that, I mean, it's a lot of meetings, obviously. So it seems like it would be a short day, but I start probably at like 7 a.m. and then you're finishing at like 5 after you're done with meetings, heading out the door with dinner. But that's kind of how the days went. It's awesome though. I feel like they're just so much more. I felt like they're just so much more like the exact same thing every week. In college, for some reason, I felt like it changed up for some odd reason. I don't know. It probably didn't, but I just was able to get in such like a good routine and this last year with the Bears. So it's just like you know exactly where you're going to be, and so every day, if it's Thursday, you know exactly what's going to be happening. It's Friday, you know exactly what's happening. So it was nice that ends. But that's kind of how a day went in terms of like being in the NFL. A lot of meetings, of course, for any.
And we we run we do the our schedule is very similar to you guys. My coach obviously
Mhm.
he spent about 20 years in the league, so
Yeah,
he loves the NFL schedule. Obviously, we have school on top of that we got to take care of. But I I know what you mean, kind of with Southern Utah. I don't know why. Felt like wasn't always
yeah,
exactly planned out and here at Arizona, even, I feel like I know what's going to happen every single day. I know what the day is going to be like. For us, Tuesdays are our working days. So I know Tuesday is going to be a grind. Wednesday gets a little easier. And then obviously
Yeah,
Thursday's the walkthrough day, the
yeah.
lighter day, lighter tempo. But um, no, the meetings, man, just meeting all day long, just in the installs. Nobody really realizes. And, at Southern Utah, I didn't get as much of this, but um, every week, your game plan,
Yeah.
your installs, there's so much that you have to learn, and you have to understand and study about the opponent you're going against, because they run different defensive schemes. I mean, they have different defensive fronts, they use different guys different ways. There's so many things that go into account that people don't realize, that you have to learn and study every week. And then it builds up. You go through this game, this high stress game, you build it up, and then once it's over, it's over. You learn from it the
Yeah.
next day, you scrap it, and you move on. And it goes into, we talked about the stress factor earlier. There's a lot of stress that goes into it, because you're studying, you're trying to prep yourself for this, and then the game is your chance to really show how much you really studied, how much you learned and grew,
Once
and then
again,
you got to move on.
seven.
So
Obviously, for you, it's not as many games, but for us, you just 17 weeks in a row. Obviously, with the bye week, but um, that being the 18th week. But still, it's just like it was so crazy. I don't know. Like I felt that. Like I know that's how it is still. Like with SEU, but it felt so like blown up with the Bears. Like I felt like, oh my gosh, like I just barely learned how to block this dude. Now I got to block another dude. Like that's kind of how it felt. Like because every like I
mm-hmm.
feel like the players a little bit different. In college you're just getting speed to bowl every play for me at least, um, and that's just what it is. And then in the league, there's just so many different types of players and how they play and how you prepare for that, how you watch film. It's just a lot goes into it, I feel like. Um, but I mean, I guess if you took that same approach in college too, there I guess you'd get more out of it. And obviously, some people do, and that's kind of why obviously like FBS schools take that approach because I feel like most schools take that approach of how you know so their guys can go straight into the NFL and just have that switch. But I think it was cool being able to not be in that situation and kind of just learn it right off the back and just pretty much always learning something because I had no idea. I didn't know what I was really going into. I mean, I didn't know how weeks were going to be. Had a lot of questions, but it's just being super open minded and just going to work every day. But it's just so different. I can't even explain it. It's hard to explain like how different it is. But really, I mean, you think about it and you're just like, oh, but it's just football. But I don't know. The jump is just so much different. But it is. But I don't know. I can't explain it exactly.
not to
Yeah.
mention the 18 weeks, man.
And
That's
then
that's
think
a
Yeah,
whole
about
I was
like
nother
just gonna
the
beast right
guys
say.
right
there.
now. I mean, Eagles, obviously in the Chiefs, but even
Right.
the guys that lost this past weekend. I mean, they're beat up. I mean, Kansas City's over there playing with what they
Yeah.
think I think they had like six rookies starting on defense or something, or eight rookies starting on defense. Like that's insane, man. Um, that's like six. Like that's crazy, bro. And because you're just so beat up later in the season, and yeah, they're just long, and you got yeah,
your
break
body
down
your
for
body
sure.
just starts to break down. And we talked about it before. I my body, I felt this was my first full season, and I only played 12 games. And I felt my body start to break down, and I guess I started to lose weight, like be less fortified. I can only imagine what you went through. Obviously, you said you lost a little bit of
Yeah.
weight going through that first season. How are you going to attack this off season so that next year, you have no problems? You can
Yeah, I
feel
mean, I
great all
mean, that's
throughout the
just being
year.
consistent with your rehabilitation, and that's super important, man. I mean, during season, um, and I thought really early in the season, I did a really good job, and that helped me later in the season. But I could have done better later in the season as well. But um, and that's the things I'll learn in terms of this off season and how to do those and how exactly what exactly my body needs. Like some of these guys have been doing it for 10 years. They know exactly what they need to do and how to feel 100% on game day. So um, I think that's the biggest thing for this off season for me is kind of just getting comfortable in terms of what my body needs and all that stuff. But obviously the biggest thing for me is just getting stronger this off season and really coming back with a different lower body, and that's kind of how it's always been for me, even at SEU, just continuously get stronger in that lower body. But this off season is going to be big, and just kind of learning. And now I have 1 year under my belt, and stuff like that. So it definitely is a little different. You know what to kind of expect, and I'm honestly already excited to start getting back into that process again and just to see how it goes. Obviously, there's quite some time. I mean, the Super Bowl hasn't even been played, but but you just get bored after the season. No football. I mean, you're watching it, but it just sucks because you want to kind of be playing it, obviously, and stuff
It's
like
a
that. But at a
Hmm.
certain point, you take a week or two off, and I'm like, damn, I want to be on the field already again. But um, I think take a lot of time for my body to get that back. Because if you think about it, I played the spring season. We had the 6 games, right, and then for SUU, we had the 6 games, and then we go into the fall, and we have the 11 games, and obviously both those seasons we win 2 games total out of those, um, and so it's just a rough turnaround into doing Senior Bowl training, combine, and then into 18 weeks. So it was a long time. I was glad to finally kind of just see it in front, like all that I had accomplished, and that was a good time too, just being able to take a couple weeks away from the game a little bit. But I'm incredibly excited for this off season and things that I can do for sure.
Yeah, what's in sight for year two? What are you
Yeah, I
looking to
mean,
improve on, and
man,
what's the goal?
I just my obviously end goal is to just be one of those all pro tackles, all pro left tackle. The guy that's doing it right now, Trent Williams, at the highest level. I mean, he just I I just
monster.
I envision
Yeah.
myself uh, being that in a few years for sure. But just year two coming out, showing them I improved in terms of some of the things I lacked on bull rush. Some things in terms of like the run game, it could have been better in pad level, bend and stuff like that. Love to maybe year two Pro Bowl would be insane. But that's a goal of mine. Like, why not? You know, why not? So, um, just
Exactly.
doing
Why
those
not?
things and working for those things. Obviously, it doesn't just happen. You got to put in the work, and your actions are bigger than what you say. But yeah, those are kind of my goals, and just making sure you're from year one. When you throw on the tape compared to year two, it's just like an amazing growth. Even though year one was still, pretty good year, year two's got to be that much better, and that's just kind of how I am, and I won't stop until I don't think I'll ever stop. Maybe it's just I can't. I just love getting better. I mean, it's great, man. I mean, I just can't wait to you know, get into multiple years and just shoot, maybe even work to be a Hall of Famer one day, man. It's why not?
That's
Why
awesome.
not?
That's
And
awesome.
and and bro, your mindset's crazy because
Mm-hmm.
you come off this great rookie year. Everyone's expectations, like you jump over them, like no question. Like no one would have expected at the end of this year for you to be the starting left tackle for the Bears, and here you are only letting up 7 sacks,
Not at all.
and you're still not satisfied. And I think that's why you're going to be great and why you're going to have a long career in the NFL, because I'm so glad that you took that time to reflect. And even for myself, coming to Arizona, I took a little bit of time to reflect and enjoy, what I've done in this past year. But, you know, you enjoy
Yeah,
it for a little bit, and then it's back to work. You have so much ahead of you, and that's what makes you different, really, is that you have so much left to
100%.
give and so
Oh
much
yeah.
more to learn. So I think that's really cool.
For my last question, I just wanted to ask for anyone going through the pre-draft and the combine, everything like that. What kind of advice can you give them that really helped you exceed through those and really
Yeah,
get you your spot in
I
the
mean,
draft that
obviously,
it did?
there's obviously like on the field things in terms of maybe if you're in a bowl games in terms of like the Senior Bowl. But I think like obviously you got to do good on the field and try not put so much pressure on yourself. But really, at the end of the day, you're always being watched. One of my biggest things, like even at the combine, I think I waited and you do MRIs, X-rays, or whatever, just because yeah, like if they're gonna spend
You talked
money
to me
on
about
a
this. I
lot of money
remember
on
this.
somebody, like they want to know, they want to make sure, and there's just you know it takes a long time. I mean, it's not a easy process. It's not a fast process, and just kind of being patient. Like everybody's watching you, and so just kind of just take it slow. I mean, you're there. You should be glad to be there. It was tough watching because some of the guys even last year just complaining that they're still there, but like they have like you were given the opportunity to be there. Like there's no reason to complain. So. That was my biggest advice. I mean, you have plenty of time to complain when you're 80 years old, right? So I think just going into everything with like just high expectations and just being positive about just about everything. That's kind of what I did in terms of like the off the field things because there's a lot of it. You're being tested in every aspect of anything you do. You talk to Joe Schmo, start like standing on the corner of, maybe at the hotel in the Senior Bowl out in Mobile, and he's reporting back. Like you never know. I mean, just being positive, having a good mindset about everything, and that's not being fake or anything. That's just knowing, you know. I guess you could say playing the game, but just knowing, being a step ahead pretty much. And so that would be my advice to anybody, even and not obviously this year some of those guys are going through that right now, but for years to come, just you were given the opportunity to do some of those things like going to the combine. Like that's crazy. I remember watching you know some of the obviously all stars do some of those things when they're doing the combine. It's just a great opportunity, and to just be thankful at the end of the day that you get a chance to be in those shoes. Not a lot of people get to do it. Not everybody can do it where they would be doing it. I know a lot of coaches and stuff say that, but it's just the truth, man. I mean, you just got to be super grateful to be there, and that's just kind of how I approached it, and my advice to anybody that goes through that in the future.
Right. That's you. Honestly, you have a pro mentality, and we love to see it. And I know Tanner and me both can't wait to see what you do in year two. And from there on, we're rooting for you. Tanner, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just excited, bro. We haven't been able to talk much, obviously, since the season. We've both been super busy, but it's been really cool to see you, bro. Blossom and really grow in this position. And we talked about it earlier.
Yeah,
The Bears allowing you to grow as well, I think, is great because they've just,
yeah,
they're just letting you. You're just getting a taste of this talent that you're going to become, and I'm fired up about it, bro, because I know you're going to keep continuing to do what you need to do. I've been around you for quite a few years. I've seen you continue to grow and become who you are. I've seen you from a mental aspect, like as a man, grow. I've seen you from the physical aspect on the field. And you're just going to keep going, and they're just giving you the tools to do so. So I'm really excited. I have full faith in you. I really believe you can be a Pro Bowler one day, like no bullshit.
come
And
on,
I
Air
hope to join
Canada,
you
come
one day.
on, man,
Obviously, I'm
Air
not there
Canada,
yet, but
man,
you know,
come on, man.
yeah, no, bro. I know you have that it factor, and man, to be a rookie fifth rounder to do the things you did this
No,
year.
bro,
It's just
I appreciate you too.
sky's
I
the
mean,
limit for you, bro.
it's just a pleasure to do anything like this. I love talking ball and just kind of sitting down and obviously Tanner being the great guy he is, man, over there balling out in AZ. I mean, I love to see it, but I just appreciate you guys having me on here. It's a great time. Shoot, I could talk about this for days. I just go on and on. I just, I could really talk about it for all night long. But yeah, it's just a great opportunity to have for sure.
And we
Well,
thank you so much for coming on. Like it's awesome that you took the time out of your day to do this for us, because it's huge. And yeah, just keep killing it. Tanner, you had
no,
something
I
to
was
say?
just gonna say we need to get him on a
Dude,
Fortnite like
man,
Twitch stream or something,
bro,
Yeah, there
and
we go.
stream it to
There we
see what
go.
he's really like. You think he's a pro in
bro,
the NFL?
man,
You wait till
I'd
you
have to
watch
get
this
back
dude
on the
play
sticks for
Fortnite.
sure. I
It's
haven't played
crazy,
a good amount of Fortnite in some while, obviously because of season and stuff like that. But yeah, man, that would be amazing for
right?
sure. Show them that I can obviously do it on the field, but get the sticks going a little bit, man. You know it.
For sure.
There we go.
Well, we
We're
appreciate you,
doing it
brother.
in the
It's
future.
been awesome having you, and we'll catch up soon.
No, for
I need
sure,
to fly
brother.
out to Utah or something. I need to come train with you, bro.
All right. Thank you for watching this week, guys. And that's pretty much it.